welcome to the Big Little Podcast, Season 1, Episode 2. We're going to talk about a host of things today, but mainly we are going to talk about Gulfstream and why I think that's such a good choice. I know there's a lot out there on the street about which brands are better than others. I really feel the Gulfstream is a better brand. Now, let me preface that by saying any camper we get in, we have to go through. We put in a solid 4-hour prep on it because they all need a little TLC. Not a lot, but I don't want a customer to open a cabinet and find it's covered with wire ends and sawdust. So we do invest that time to check all the systems that they work. Let's back up a little bit to Gulfstream. They are not one of the monsters. When I say monsters, I think we all know of those two big manufacturers that produce about 95% of the campers. Gulfstream is still a family-owned private company. They are now 30 years plus of building what they build. They have a very deep lineup. They have 28 different brands they produce. Out of those 28 brands, they have a lightweight segment, and that's what we feature here is their lightweight lines. We carry both the Vintage Cruiser and the Vista Cruiser. And I think you'll come to see they are basically the same camper. One is a modern version, the other is a retro version, and I'm going to talk today about the retro version. There are 3 colors that are available. They call them turquoise, crimson, and the woody package, or actually I think it's called the vintage package or the estate package, and I do have those all currently in stock here, and there is a tremendous amount they do right with it. Let's start with, they have 3 different sizes they come in, and again I am focusing on the vintage. Anything you see in a vintage floor plan you can get in a Vista, give you the same camper just with that modern. They have what's called a 17, a 19, and a 23. The thing that I love, and I wish there was a standard in the industry, but there isn't. The 17 series is really 20-foot bumper to tongue. The 19-foot series is really 23-foot bumper to tongue, and the 23-foot is 26-foot bumper to tongue. As we go through these different features and parts of them, I have to say, not all apples are the same. Especially with Gulfstream, there are a lot of options out there. When we put a camper here, we put a camper in that I would want to camp in. So when we do the speccing, you have your base package. Another thing they use in the industry that just makes me giggle is called a forced option. If it's a forced option, I think that's a standard. But what do I know? I have some simple thinking. So with those 3 different sizes, the weights run from 2,500 to 4,200 pounds. When you're talking a 26-footer, 4,200 pounds is a mighty light trailer. The 17 and 19 both have a single axle. When you get into the 23 series, they have a double axle. One of the other options that I always spec is that good old Goodyear Endeavor tire. I think trailer-wise, tire-wise, you cannot get a better tire than that tire. In my first lifetime, I was in trucking and I did the tire purchasing. All casings are not the same. The Goodyear Endeavor is a much better casing, has a higher speed rating, which I don't encourage, but a higher speed rating generally shows a better quality tire. The other feature that I think should be on every camper ever produced is both electric and hot water on your water heater. It is just so nice. My personal camper is an RPod 180 and it has the electric and propane hot water. I think I've turned the propane on twice where the electric is just so nice. It's quiet, it's peaceful. Other things that are optional are black tank flushes, which I think are a must. There are things that are just nice to have on your camper. When I was reviewing today the particular camper behind me, which is the 17 RWD. The 17s have a full-size bed. If I could say one thing I would like to say different if that was a queen, but it's not. But it is still a nice bed, and they offer an upgraded mattress, which we do have in that. The accent lighting on the inside just takes it up a notch, especially when you're talking vintage and you have the blue refrigerator, the blue and cream cushions, the vintage sham and pillows. It just does kick it up. They have accent lighting. The accent lighting inside is a nice blue, lights up around the kitchen, also lights up in the stove. Over the bed are 2 reading lights, and they also can be set to blue. One of the other features I really like is the sconce lighting. They do have an upgraded lighting that just gives it a little more touch of class. One of the other things you'll notice with the curve and bend in there, very Art Deco. They were chasing that 50 look, but if you push on it, it's solid. Some of the other brands, you push on that curve and they're going to flex. So there is a lot of quality in these. Let's go to the frame. The frame is an aluminum tube frame that's hand welded. Then they take that frame, they put a dense foam core inside it, they glue and vacuum bond it. They have a laminate outside. Each of the 7 layers, they spray a separate coating of glue. So when they put that sucker together, they glue all those 7 pieces, then they put it in the vacuum bag, then they vacuum bond it. So what you end up having is a very lightweight laminate panel. And I used to talk about that with A-liner, that you could pick up the sidewall, wave it in the air, put it across a little gully and walk across it. And I still believe that today. It's just a good construction. Is there anything wrong with stick and tin? Absolutely not. And we'll go into that in a different episode when we look at different models. I like dealing with Gulfstream because they are small enough to listen, and I also believe their quality is top-notch for what they produce. I have been to the factory. My rep Kenny, hey Kenny, if you see this, I expect a little plug there somewhere from you. Good guy, good people, they're very amicable and easy to work with. Some of the other big brands that I won't talk about, when we have warranty, I'm lucky to get paid for the part, and with Gulfstream, they're fair with what they pay on a warranty repair. And that means something to me. I'm not trying to generate extra income, so if there is a warranty issue, I expect them to stand behind it. And standing behind it isn't getting a free part and me paying the labor. Now that we've got through all of that, I want to talk briefly about Azdel, which is a material they use in both the sidewalls and the roof. Azdel is a synthetic product. It has no wood at all, and it's actually 50% lighter than wood, has no formaldehyde, and is mold, rot, and mildew resistant. So you have that going on for you if there is any leak in it. The other thing that I look on a camper this size is the water tank. These have a 27-gallon tank, which is enough to get you through a good long weekend of dry camping. I found for me, it seemed a week I need 100 gallons if I'm off the grid. And again, that's showering every day and cooking. So there is a nice benefit to having a good size refrigerator and an ample storage for your water. I've got to say, one of the other things that's pretty amazing, this camper behind me, 2,800 pounds on the MSO. Statistics talk about 2,500 in the brochure, but the actual MSO is a weighed weight, it's 2,800 pounds. What does that mean? That can be towed by a 3,500 pound vehicle. Your minivans, your Jeeps, most of your SUVs, and a lot of cars. If it's rated at 3,500 pounds, you can pull this with a full bathroom and shower and awning. That's just kind of neat. The other thing in that same breath, I have 2 other campers on my lot that are 3,500 pound friendly, that have bathrooms with showers that are separate. They're not wet bath. So you can get the best of this modern world in these campers. So what I'm going to say is go to Gulfstream's website. The last couple minutes here, I'm going to give a little plug to how good their website is and how easy it is to navigate. I've always believed a website has to look good and has to navigate easily, and Gulfstream has pulled both of those things off. You can go on there and get any brochures they have. They have a lot of videos with the different construction they do. There is just a lot they have to go and look at it. I am not a technician, but I've got to give you a quick lesson in anode rods, and that's how we're going to end up episode 2. What is an anode rod? Your hot water tank is a porcelain-lined metal tank, and they now have ones that are aluminum that are anode rod free, but 95% of what out there has an anode rod in. The anode rod goes into the hot water tank and is designed to sacrifice itself. Now, it's pretty easy math. A $20 anode rod is a lot cheaper than an $800 hot water tank. So this screws in the bottom of the tank. While the tank is running, there's actually an electrolysis going on, and the rod is magnesium and gets eaten away from the chemical reaction. After the rod gets eaten away, then it starts eating away at the tank itself. I do recommend once a year, when you winterize it's a great time. Pull that anode rod out, look at it. The manufacturer says 75% usage is good. If it gets down to 50%, that's enough for me. Again, it's just a cheap maintenance to go with an anode rod instead of replacing a hot water tank. So what I invite you to do is come on down to Kerola Camper, see us, come here, have a cup of coffee. Coffee does make life better. And I look forward to sharing another line with you on episode 3. We'll probably look at A-liners at that point. So for now, happy camping.